There's a point in this series where a large Satan-worshipping man with a peacock tail, he ends up on an alternative version of Earth where Rome never fell, in a coliseum fighting a robot velociraptor. It's one of the best Satan worshippers with peacock tails fighting velociraptors I've ever seen. Robot velociraptor. Intelligent. It doesn't make any sense. It's great, though. The whole series is like that. Hi there, this is Left Every Book, and today I'm talking about Top 10 by Alan Moore. Out of all the Alan Moore series, I think this is one of the least disturbing ones, but that is by Alan Moore, so this is a different scale than normal humans. It follows a police station, the Top 10 precinct. The town they're fighting crime in is filled with superheroes. So it's basically superheroes fighting superheroes, or supervillains, but they're not really villains, just ordinary citizens who have superpowers and are, ordinary people. They're committing crime. Who doesn't commit crime? The run-of-the-mill traffic, occasional robberies, people not paying rent, to drugs, special superpower drugs, a superhero disease, which is basically AIDS for mutants, and occasionally really weird crime, like what ends up being an underground pedophilia ring for superheroes and sidekicks, which is disturbing, really disturbing. I love this series because out of all the series, it's the funniest. There is a lot of humor. He's making fun of the superhero genre in general. I mean, the characters are, at one point, spoofing superheroes, at their point, completely original. The artist, Gene Hott, did a fantastic job just making little tiny background jokes. You really have to pore over the panels and enjoy them. The 2 volumes that make up the series, they look like this. The prequel, The 49ers, which talks about the founding of the city where all the superheroes live, or science heroes as they're actually called in this. And the sequel, which takes place with 2 of the main characters from the series, where they go to an imaginary fantasy land, which is an alternative Earth, where there's elves and dwarves and dragons, and it's Alan Moore, so horrible, horrible things happen, and there's a lot more incest than I really like in a series, but it's Alan Moore. I recommend everybody read these 2 volumes. It's a fantastic series. This run was just genius. It's fun, it's enjoyable to read, and it's enjoyable to reread because of all the little jokes. I don't really recommend the next 2. This one feels like it should have been a 1-issue story, which he padded out to, graphic novel size. It's beautiful. The art is gorgeous, and it's nice to see the characters beginning. And it's nothing extraordinary. So, it's nice to have it fill out the set, but you don't really need it. This one, I've never bothered to reread. The sequel stories, S-Max, which follows 2 of the main characters from the first series, I'm not really a big fan of incest. I like this plot. I like the art. I really like the fantasy world where people are like, pixies, just eat them already, which is fun. I reread it a few times because I keep thinking, it can't be as bad as I thought it was. It's always as bad as I thought it was. In general terms, the artwork is it's really good. It kind of harkens back to the classic comic book style, but looks a bit grittier, more realistic. The streets are all filthy, there's vomit sometimes, I think there's a ghost of Richie Rich walking around the background of the comics for no apparent reason whatsoever. The Christmas issue where a drunk Santa Claus tries to kidnap children and has a dead reindeer attached to his sleigh is a bit dark. You can tell the artist was having a lot of fun with the superheroes because everyone's a superhero. Everyone has a ridiculous costume. Do you want a cowboy with a giant 6-shooter for no apparent reason next to a guy with electric shocks coming out of his head? Sure. The art in the prequel is, I can't fault it at all. It looks a lot like the art in the main series, except it's all kind of sepia-toned, old movie. It feels very noir. It's just not the greatest plot. But it's very pretty. In S-Max, on the other hand, they're going to an alternative Earth. Everything's cartoonish. It looks like a cartoon. It's very, very much bright colors. The main character's bright blue. Few warnings, it is very violent. They're all superheroes, so sometimes violence sticks, sometimes it doesn't. When it does, it's pretty disturbing. There is suicide, prostitution. I think I mentioned bestiality before. It's not overt. There's definitely the incest angle, mentions of pedophilia. Also, one character is constantly nude but shifts her skin patterns to make it look like she's wearing clothes. If any of you find that disturbing, this is really not the series for you. If, however, you're interested in checking it out, you're not sure if you want to handle any of the heavier issues it deals with, the first volume is pretty safe. Second volume, that's where all the disturbing shit hits the disturbing fan. This is where the incest shit hits the incest fan. This one's just kind of boring. So I recommend buying these 2 volumes. These 2 volumes, you can still get these volumes on Amazon. You can buy individual issues at Comixology. And that's a great way to get into this series, frankly. Just buy an issue, see if you like it. There is, however, another option. The whole series is available in one beautiful hardcover volume. I'm told it's very nice. I don't know if I recommend spending $80 when what I consider worth reading is worth $40. Also, these are very easy to get in libraries. That's how I started reading them. Also, I should mention a second series where this was written, not by Alan Moore. Someone else, using Alan Moore's characters, decided to continue the series. Do not read it. You like yourself. Don't do that to yourself. The best thing about the series is really the characters. There's a huge cast of characters in this, but all of them have a really good arc. They develop. You see them being better people, you see them learning to work with each other. In a really diverse society as an area where everyone has superpowers, it's hard to get along and you watch them work towards it. And it's so much fun watching Alan Moore play with it. If you have an opinion on the series or want to ask me a question, feel free to leave a comment below. Thank you for watching. And this is not a story I usually like. It's like, oh, high school, whatever. But it ends up not being about the money or the uniforms or the fact that they had the cutest robot in the world. It's actually about friendship and family and navigating complicated relationships and those really good story things which sometimes get overlooked with the more traditional cheerleader jobs. I'm gonna shoot you. Edit that out. Edit me threatening you out. I don't have a gun.